few weeks later, the sale of the house was completed. Mr. Otis travelled by train with his family from London to Ascot, the nearest railway station. With him were Mrs. Otis and their 4 children. The eldest was Washington, named after the founding father of their country. Then came the lovely Virginia, a 17-year-old artist. Finally, there were the twins. These young boys were known to all as the Stars and Stripes. A carriage met the family at the railway station. It was a lovely July evening. The air was full of the scent of the pine woods and the sound of birdsong. Little squirrels looked at them from the branches of trees. Rabbits ran around, their little white tails in the air. Then they entered the avenue leading to Canterville Chase. Suddenly the sky darkened. Thick clouds appeared above them. Black crows flew silently overhead. Before they reached the house, big drops of rain were falling. Standing on the steps to receive them was an old woman. She was dressed in black silk with a white cap and apron. This was Mrs. Umney, the housekeeper. Mrs. Umney curtsied as they climbed out of the carriage. "Welcome to Canterville Chase," she said. Then she turned and went into the house. They followed her through the hall into the library. It was a long, low room with black oak panels. At one end was a large stained glass window. Next to the window was the table with tea laid out for them. Taking off their coats, they began to look around. Suddenly, Mrs. Otis noticed a dull red stain on the floor by the fireplace. "I am afraid that something has been spilt there." "Yes, madam," replied the old housekeeper in a low voice. "Blood has been spilt on that spot." "How horrid!" cried Mrs. Otis. "We can't have blood stains in a sitting room. You must remove it at once." The old woman smiled. "It is the blood of Lady Eleanor de Canterville," she answered in the same low, mysterious voice. "She was murdered on that very spot by her own husband, Sir Simon de Canterville, in 1575. "Murdered?" "Sir Simon survived her 9 years. Then he disappeared. His spirit still haunts the Chase." While she was speaking, Washington Otis reached into his bag. He took out a cloth and a small stick of what looked like a black cosmetic. "The blood stain cannot be removed," the old woman continued. "That is all nonsense," cried Washington. "I knew Pinkerton would do it," he exclaimed, looking around at his admiring family. At that moment, a terrible flash of lightning lit up the room. Then loud thunder made them all jump. Mrs. Umney fainted. Mr. Otis remained calm. "What terrible weather you have in England," he said, lighting a cigar. After a few moments, Mrs. Umney recovered. She was extremely upset. "There will be trouble coming to this house now," she said. "We don't believe in ghosts, Mrs. Umney," said Mr. Otis. "Everything will be fine," agreed Mrs. Otis. I have seen terrible things with my own eyes, sir, said Mrs. Umney. Many nights I did not dare close my eyes to sleep. Mr. Otis offered Mrs. Umney some coins. Would a little extra salary help to calm your nerves, Mrs. Umney? It might help a little, sir, agreed the housekeeper. She pocketed the cash and returned to her room.